Just take a moment. Oops, hang on. Let's just take a moment and sink into the room. If anyone has anything that they'd like to talk about tonight or have mentioned, feel free to either unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Otherwise, just let yourself come to a stop. Follow your breath into the present moment. Let go of the race. Let go of the pushing and pulling. The world can move in whatever direction it needs to move. Those movements are a thin layer on the surface of the water. What's real is underneath that. The deep, resonant stillness of this moment. Doesn't mean the surface doesn't matter. But it will always be in flux. Literally always. To still that for real, you'd have to remove yourself from all people. You'd have to wait until your role fell out of all of their storylines. And then everything around you would get really still. And that would begin a process of you seeing all the parts of you that are moving on automatic pilot, and you would let go of all of those. And then there would be a complete and total awakening. But that awakening would be unchallenged. So you'd be stuck at the top of the mountain. If you came down, you'd have to start interacting with people again. And that would trigger all of your karma. You'd become somebody who knew the truth, but who couldn't control their behavior and feelings. That's most spiritual teachers you'll meet. If they had a true awakening at all, it was by completely separating themselves from life and having it in isolation. And then they come down the mountain and they work out all their karma through their students. A messy way to do it for everybody. Better to stay in life, stay awake, and keep doing your best. But to do that, you do need to be able to step out of it and be with the part of you that is not that surface story. And isn't it amazing that the second you do it, all the peace you were missing is present? Knowing that, it actually makes it safer to engage with the story. It's the difference between somebody who takes big risks in life, where if they fail, they're broke and in debt for the next 20 years, or someone who's got maybe wealthy parents, and so there's a big safety net. And so they can take the same risks, and it looks as impressive on the outside, but it's a completely different ballgame, because if it doesn't work out, they're still going to be okay. You have a big safety net. So if the flimsy stories of this world get dark, you can step right into reality, and all the peace that's missing in that darkness is there. And so it's okay. You can engage with the story. You can work to make it better for people who are lost in the story, victimized by the story. And there are many. And you can take that risk because in a second you can shift your attention and be with what's real. You know, those people who attain their enlightenment on the top of the mountain, they all come back down. They don't just stay up there enlightened. They come back down because actually the purpose of life is not to sit in painlessness. the purpose of life, this life in this crazy world that we've incarnated into, is to actually step into the mess. That's where all the growth is. You know, we just had an election that a lot of people are, I'm sure, upset about. There are a bunch of people who I'm sure are thrilled. But the people who are upset are depressed. Everything feels very unfair. And it is. I mean, it literally is. But it's all surface. It's serious surface. You know, many people will die. Probably Ukrainians. Women. The poor. Immigrants who can't get asylum. Very serious things happening on the surface. I think what people don't realize is that we do have to actually share the world with people at all levels of development. In this world, people who are higher consciousness and genuinely care about others and are capable of critical thought, people who deal with their own racism, fight against it in others and in themselves, have to share that world with people who don't even know to care about that. Share the world with people who are just interested in protecting their own, or just interested in protecting themselves, and those are different levels. And the reality is, the legitimate needs of those people are equally important. The power that moves through those people is not less than the power that moves through you. It's not a lesser power. It's not less divine. It's just moving through a vessel that hasn't learned what you've learned. And, you know, there's this desire to squash it out, but the reality is, for you to sit where you sit, the reason that you know to be different is because you've already been those things. At some point in some life, and maybe even for moments in this one, all those egregious errors in consciousness, you've made them. And the only reason that you're someone who wouldn't do it now is because this world, this messy world, made space for you. So we need to make space for everyone. Minorities, trans people, gay people, women, immigrants. But we also need to make space for the vast majority of people who haven't evolved to a point of caring. You don't have to necessarily have them in your home. You don't have to give them your time. But they actually do need a place in this world if they're ever going to become someone who does better. There will always be people who know how to manipulate those populations. It's easy to manipulate somebody at those levels. You just use fear tactics and base humor and lies. And we've probably done that too, at some point. And there needs to be space for that too. But that's this world. It all comes together. And the beauty of that is that the people who are a step further along in some aspect of life are present to interact with the people who haven't figured that out yet. And at some point, they'll accidentally shift their attention upwards, and there'll be someone there that they can interact with that takes them a step up. And that's how we all got to where we are. But more than that, when you get up to those higher places, there's a whole world of people there to challenge that and strengthen it by trying to pull you down. Can you see that? This is the place where you can learn the most. This is the place where you can strengthen the most. Because when you step up, which begins as a simple shift in the attention, but I think we all know by now, sustaining that effortlessly is no simple trick. Because there's all kinds of things down below lighting up all of your baggage to kind of pull you back down into anger. I mean, it's touching a lot of us this week, is it not? It touches me too. And as you pull yourself out of the sadness or the anger, you strengthen that muscle. It becomes that much harder to tug you back into sleepfulness. But the fact is, we are sharing this world. When things are good, people learn the lessons you can learn when you're able to relax a little inside. And when things are bad, people are able to learn the kinds of lessons that you learn in the face of stress. Holding your ground is part of how you strengthen yourself. Staying strong in your ethics. But you know how it goes. Sometimes when the world is dark, you have to be the light. You wouldn't learn how to do that if the world didn't go dark sometimes. So, I know it's a rough week for a lot of you. It's a rough week for me too. But just remember, it's all part of the mechanisms of your spiritual trek forward. You can grow in a bull market, you can grow in a bear market. It's just about showing up. Any questions about that? Happy to talk about it. Also happy to shut up about it. I've just felt so much turmoil in the ethers. It's gonna be okay even if it's not. That's the message. Okay. So let's go back into meditation. Attention at the forehead and crown. Keep your eyes open and just let them focus at a spot on the floor. And let's just step away from the shallow surface of the water and be with what's real. That way you can find your wholeness before you step back into the story. Tell you what, guys, let's do this. Before we go back into meditation, close your eyes. Picture yourself on a seaside cliff. All right, a cliff overlooking a vast ocean. And in front of you, I want you to picture a big bubble. Take the stress that you're feeling in your lower body, that anxiety in the pit of the stomach, that heaviness, and just set the intention to transfer it into that bubble. Just see it flowing out of your body and into that bubble. And now watch as the winds pick up behind you and start blowing that bubble off the cliff and down towards the sea. Just watch it moving away from you. And in a moment, just through an act of intention, we're going to pop that bubble, and everything inside of it's going to vaporize over the sea. Watch the bubble flow over the sea. Just let it go. Feel that little discomfort of that empty space of where you lost some energy. And now, pop it and let everything inside of it vaporize. Bring your attention right back to the top of the cliff again where you're standing. Place a big bubble in front of you again. All the negative feeling from your heart, the fatigue, the anger, the frustration. Let it all flow out into that bubble. Now the winds pick up behind you and blow it off the cliff down towards the sea. And just let it go. Moving closer and closer. And as it reaches the sea, let it pop. one more bubble in front of you. And this one is going to pull all of your self-righteousness out of your throat. The need to be right. The need for everything to be fair. The need to punish. The need to cry. And any other pain you're feeling. And now the winds pick up and blow that bubble off the cliff towards the ocean. Watch it moving towards the ocean. And as it hits the ocean, you're just going to let it pop and vaporize everything inside of it. Now pull energy from the earth up into your legs, any color you want. Just feel the support from the earth moving up your legs into your hips. As you release any lingering stress down the spine into the earth, let go of the gut, let go of the lungs, let go of the heart. And now from the highest point in the heavens above you, let a clean beam of divine grace descend. Into your head, down your spine, let it just wash it all away, down into the earth. Then let it make a little U-turn at the tailbone and start coming up the front of your body. Just watch it. Up the stomach, up through the heart, through the throat, through the center of the head. And let it just burst out the top of your head like a fountain cleaning your entire energy field. One more round. Let it come down from the heavens, down into your head, down the back of your spine. Just let it wash everything away. And let it fall down the drain into the earth as it continues to flow. Now at the tailbone, let it make a U-turn and start coming up the front of the body. And out the top of the head. And just exploding into colored light. Cleansing your aura. All right. Now let's meditate. Attention at the forehead and crown. Open your eyes. Let them just fall to a spot on the floor in front of you. And just be in this room with all of your senses. Let this be enough. most of you are seeing. That divine grace. That's part of what you are. A few stories on the surface of the water can't take that away. And you want to know something funny? All the crap happening on the surface of the water, it's all motivated by a desire to get to this feeling. Literally all of it. Even the ugliest of it is just someone trying to feel complete and happy. And yet here it is all the time. You guys are so still, you've stopped time. We've only been sitting quietly like this for a few minutes. This is how you stop the world so that you can take a breath. So that your energy, your fulfilled energy, can have an impact on the world instead of the world deciding what your energy is going to be like. See the power in that? That support that you're feeling right now is you focusing on your own divinity. No one can give that to you or take it away. Least of all me. All I can do is remind you that it's there. So when you go to bed tonight in that space. When you inevitably lose it and wake up feeling depressed, shift your attention. The world needs more people who can remind them of who they are. That's the beauty of this mess. The fact that it's gone so downhill just means the work that you are already naturally doing is that much more important. Your actions and your choices matter, but they pale in comparison to who and how you are as you walk through this world. Okay, everybody. Any questions before we end for the night? Everyone connected to you will be served by the beautiful energy that you magnified tonight. So thank you for that. I feel better myself. Okay, everybody. I'll be here next Thursday. I'll see you then. Have a great night. Nice to see you, Sharon.